So after you've determined what type of business you want to start, it is very important that you do research to really understand, where things lie, to see if things are realistic in the real world. It is very risky and it's very irresponsible if you don't take the time to do your research to really understand, who your customers are, what they're looking for, and to see even if your idea is really valid in the real world. So, market research is all about finding your customers who feel the pain points you're trying to solve, and also finding out if they're actually willing to pay you for the solution you're bringing to the table. Now, research also will help you to gather information about the competition, understand how you can differentiate yourself, understand what kind of gap exists in the market, and how you can fit yourself in that gap that exists in the market. Now, research is something that you can do in various ways. You can do surveys, you can send out questionnaires, you can put together focus groups to get an understanding of how they react to your product or to your service. You can do in-depth interviews with potential customers, and you can also find studies, so research that has been done about a particular problem or a set of people that you're trying to reach. You can go into some of those data and into those studies to get a better insight to the validity of your business idea. Six things that I want you to think about in terms of your goals of what you're trying to get as you're conducting your research. The first thing is demand. You want to find out, is there actually a desire for the product or the service you're offering? Do people actually need what you're trying to sell? So you want to answer that question on demand. The second question you want to answer is also market size. How many people are actually interested in your offering? So if you put together a software or product that only appeals to 2% of the population, for example, then you want to really look at that properly and determine if that is really worth your time. Also, economic indicators is a third thing you need to consider. What type of people are interested in your product? What type of disposable income do they have? How much do they make in salary? Because the worst thing you can do is to create this amazing product for people who make maybe less than $40,000 a year, and they like your product but they can't afford it. They don't have the bandwidth in their budget to accommodate your product. That will be failure. You want to make sure that you know exactly what type of people who will be interested in your products, how much they make, and how much disposable income they have to afford the product or the service you're offering. Also, you want to find out more about location. Where do your customers live? Where do they live? If your business is a brick and mortar business, you want to know what part of the city do they live. If it's an online business, you want to know what part of the world are they generally from, or what type of what kind of specific geographical location do you want to target, because that would reflect in how you do your marketing campaign, how you approach those types of people. So you want to know the location. Also, you want to think about market saturation. Now, market saturation is all about how many what the competition is like, how many similar options are available on the market, and how can you differentiate yourself. Because the good thing is that if someone else is doing something similar to what you're doing and they're successful, that is a good thing, because it means that someone is actually willing to pay for that service. So that's a good positive thing. But you want to make sure that there is not too many people in that service. For example, if you want to start a fast food restaurant, that is a very difficult market to get into, because there are lots of options available for customers. There are lots of options, and it's very, very hard to differentiate yourself if you're starting something like that. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing if you're starting a business that has saturation. The question is, how do you differentiate yourself? What is something new you're bringing to the table to make customers reconsider and maybe take a pause to think about your products? And then the last thing is pricing. You want to know what customers are willing to pay for the product or the service based off of what is currently available on the market. Are people willing to pay $100 an hour for coaching? Are people willing to pay $50 an hour for a piano session, a piano lesson? Are people willing to pay $30 an hour for a guitar lesson? You want to really understand what people are willing to pay for. And now, once you have all of this information, you can then put together a SWOT analysis. So you want to know your strengths, your weaknesses, the opportunities, and the threats to being successful successful in the business. And if you look at the resources, I've put together some documents to help you navigate and answer these questions as you approach your research.